There's a lot going on in the world of Magic the Gathering right now. We have information about multiple new secret layers. On top of that, another Phyrexian Praetor has appeared. And that's not even all the news we have to talk about today.
Magic. I am a wizard! History. I'm an old wizard! The magic historian. My bones hurt.
Greetings! Owners of fine luxury cardboard rectangles, my friends, I hope the day finds you well because we have gathered for another installment of Mega Magic News. We're going to talk about Phyrexian Praetors. We're going to talk about secret layers. We're even going to talk about Post Malone at the end because something a little silly seems to be going on. But let us start out with what is most likely the most exciting element of this video, and that would be talking about the new secret layers. Admittedly, some people are probably more interested in the Phyrexian goodness, but don't worry, we'll get to that. Let's start out by talking about the Planeswalker Chibi secret layer. So let's get an image up on the screen for you right here. What you're looking at is a Chibi Sorin Markov. So, this is confirmed as a secret layer, but we are not being given the actual cards to see at this point. We are only going to be given the art represented on playmats for this Chibi Planeswalker secret layer. So, we have 4 different ones to take a look at. The first is Sorin. Now, these are done in this very cutesy kind of like anime chibi style with like the giant heads and the small bodies. So admittedly, this makes perfect sense for a secret layer because that's where you try the weird divergent art styles. And these are genuinely going to appeal to what I feel is a broad range of players. So the first one we have here is the Sorin. And you can see the artwork is quite nice. Sorin certainly loses a lot of his menace when you make him tiny like this. And I'll admit as well, the recent story from Innistrad Crimson Vow and Midnight Hunt and all that made Sorin really feel like a whiny child almost. I was just like, wow, they kind of regressed his character and made him feel more childish. But hey, whatever. Let's move on to the next image. This is Ashiok, and Ashiok also really loses a lot of that sort of like dangerous feel that Ashiok has, right? Because Ashiok has that crazy setup where part of their head is missing, you know, like where the horns are curling up and that mist and smoke is. There used to be a face there, apparently, and it's just kind of like slowly but surely dissipated away. And I don't know, there's just like the posing. Ashiok sitting there, a hand on her cheek there, and these animals, these little like shadow spirit animals are bounding forward. So these are clearly like Ashiok's nightmare minions, but rendered in a more like friendly sort of way. You know, I like it. It's got like a nice chill kind of vibe to it. So that's Ashiok. The next one we have to take a look at is a Johnny. And a Johnny normally looks like a big beef boy. You know what I mean? Like, give me a big hug, Lion Man, and make me feel safe in your arms. We can watch The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe together. We shall journey to Narnia together, a Johnny. But in this version, he just this is to me like the goofiest looking one. There's just something about his face where he's like winking and it looks like he's sticking his tongue out. And it also is hilarious, the size of his actual like gear in comparison to him. Normally, he's much, much bigger than his like double-bladed, two-headed axe weaponry that he uses. But in this artwork, it's like if you were to rotate it, it would stand taller than him, right? It does look pretty cool, though. It does give a sort of nice symmetrical aspect to a part of the artwork. So, I mean, admittedly, I've saved my favorite of these arts for last. So the fourth of the secret layer Planeswalker Planesmats from the Chibi Planeswalker stuff is Tamiyo. And look at this. Tamiyo looks adorable rendered into a chibi. Let's be very, very real about that. Floating in front of a crescent moon with all these scrolls of knowledge floating about her. And it's like, yes! But it becomes 1,000% more yes when you actually take a look down in the bottom right behind the moon and you see it's Emrakul. Emrakul is hiding in the chibi Tamiyo art. Hiding back there behind the moon, kind of peeking out at Tamiyo. And that makes perfect sense because Tamiyo was the instrument that was used essentially to seal Emrakul into the moon. Now, Emrakul obviously played a hand in that, kind of taking over Tamiyo. So it felt like Emrakul went into the moon from Emrakul's own designs. You know what I mean? But ultimately, I love the fact that Emrakul is showing up just in the background, this tiny little, hey, can I come out from behind the moon? Maybe get a little hug? I don't know. It's adorable. So we don't know for sure if like exactly how many of these chibi planeswalkers are going to be in a particular secret lair. We don't know if it's all one secret lair or they'll each have their own individual secret lair with cards to kind of go along with them. But I'm expecting this to be lumped together as a sort of like one secret lair. And it's interesting that they have a mono white planeswalker, a mono black planeswalker, and then two multicolored planeswalkers. Although theoretically, Soren and Ajani do also have multicolored variants of them as well. So it will remain to be seen exactly which ones in particular they slap these artwork onto, right? So that's the first secret lair. That's the chibi secret lair. The second secret lair, the only thing we know about it at all is just the concept of it. So there's going to be an astrological secret lair. So as far as I understand, that'll be based on like your zodiac signs, you know? So are you a Sagittarius? Are you a Leo? All that kind of silly stuff that some people like to look at and go, my entire personality was determined by the place I was born and where the moon and stuff were. And it's like, you mean it wasn't like any other factors, like how you were raised, the environment you were raised in, how life is in your society? Nope, it's really just the moon and the stars, huh? Then how come everybody's not a clone when they're born in the... Anyways. Astrology to me always came across as like crockpot theory. You can't learn something about somebody. You were born when Mars was in retrograde. So, but I mean, you know, if you like astrological symbols and you like it for the fun of it, sure, there's no harm in it, whatever. Go, oh, what's today's horoscope? It's believing in it like it's like genuine science that kind of like riles me up a bit. But astrological secret layer is going to be coming. Let us turn to Phyrexia, my friends. So, on the screen, you are going to see a 3D model looking thing. And this is Jin-Gitaxis, all right? This is one of the 5 Phyrexian Praetors. In fact, if you watched yesterday's video, I unboxed a Phyrexian secret lair. So we went over all the Praetors. I'll leave a link to that actually on the screen at the end of this video. So Jin-Gitaxis is the blue Phyrexian Praetor. Now we had already seen Vorinclex show up out in the wild, right? All of a sudden, out of nowhere, Vorinclex, who is one of the 5 Phyrexian Praetors, showed up on Kaldheim. And we all kind of theorized, what's going on here? And people were expecting Jin-Gitaxis to show up in Strixhaven. There were people who thought, okay, we're going to see one of the Phyrexian Praetors in each of the X number of sets kind of leading up to this concept, right? It's like, oh, yeah, Phyrexia's coming back. But it looks like Wizards isn't, obviously, I mean, there wasn't one in Strixhaven. We didn't get one in the most recent sets as well, but it looks like another one's coming. This is essentially a spoiler through WizKids little figurines. So what happens is they make Magic the Gathering figurines. You may have seen them for sale in game shops and stuff like that, right? And they do a lineup of a bunch of things. They do them in batches that are set over however much like period of time. So as a result, sometimes they will produce figures and start to like market them before the figures have appeared in the storyline. So Jin-Gitaxis is having a model made specifically of that Phyrexian Praetor with no other Phyrexian Praetors being made, and it's being made in a recent batch, which says it's almost guaranteed. There is obviously the chance that it may not happen, but it's almost guaranteed that we are going to see Jin-Gitaxis before we get to the Phyrexia part of 2022, because the second half of 2022 is going to be fully Phyrexianized as far as I'm concerned. We've got Dominaria United, which is going to involve Teferi and the Phyrexians as far as I'm concerned, and then you have the Brothers' War at the end of the year, which totally features essentially the first time we got to see the Phyrexians in the Magic storyline. And by the way, the Brothers War storyline is absolutely incredible, and I'm covering it over on my lore channel, so I'm going to leave a link to the start of the story at the end of this video as well, in case you want to find out what's going on with the Phyrexians. So, Jin-Gitaxis is probably going to show up, I'm guessing, in the next 2 sets, maybe Kamigawa, maybe New Capenna. It could be, why not, right? They're all set in the same kind of like time frame wise, so you can just shove them in there to get us a little more excited for the Phyrexians. Now, I did mention Post Malone as well. This news is not very fleshed out. Wizards of the Coast has made an announcement that they're teaming up with Post Malone for a year for like FNM promotion events. So we don't have any details. We don't know what this means. We don't know if he's going to be making FNM music. We don't know if he's going to be going out and playing in events, but I do love the fact that Post Malone is a Magic player, because now when I'm listening to his songs, I just picture him singing them to his opponents. Do you know what I mean? Like in one of his songs, he's just singing about how it's only the rest of his life. You know what I mean? It's like, I'll be okay. It's only the rest of my life. So you do a big fireball to him, and then he just looks you in the eye and starts singing about how he'll be okay. It's only the rest of his life. Do you know, like, I just love that. That seems like fun. And I have to admit, Post Malone seems like a really chill dude. So, that wraps up the Mega Magic news. Please share your thoughts in the comments below, my friends. Links on the screen for videos for you to enjoy. And a big thank you to all my patrons. I will see you guys next time.